welcome everyone. Welcome to the Flagler Weather Update. Today's the 5th of October, 2025, and we're going to talk about what to be expecting here in the next several days here in Flagler County. We're going to talk about the tidal flooding situation and a few other things. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Just kind of an idea. You notice this, like if you watch this, you see clouds going all kinds of crazy directions here. Well, there's a front that's kind of like right around here, and that front is starting to lift to the north. And north of the front, the winds are going from right to left, from the east to the southeast to the northwest. And then on the backside of the front, the winds are more out of the south. And so that front is slowly making its way up through the state of Florida today. Ahead of it, moisture is increasing rain chances and such. Not looking at the amount of rain that they originally were expecting. We were expecting to get a lot more rain than what we're actually going to get. And sometimes that happens with these forecasts. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at radar as things stand right now. You can see showers and thunderstorms, additional activity coming in off the ocean, and that'll be kind of a thing off and on throughout today. We're taking a look at the potential hazards and concerns. So minor to moderate, mostly moderate for us, tidal flooding will continue this week. Coastal flood warnings remain in force, and that's for moderate tidal flood impact, St. Johns River Basin, and coastal northeast Florida and intercoastal waterway. And up in southeast Georgia, it's not quite as bad up there. We're not going to talk about that too much because we're more worried about what's happening here. Dangerous marine, beach current, rip currents, all that stuff that's going on into Tuesday, and then likely coming back at the end of the week. And we'll talk about why that is here in just a few moments. Locally heavy rainfall, flood risk into Monday, and that's where that front comes off to the north. Now, coastal flooding, we do have coastal flood warnings that are in force for the eastern parts of Flagler County. Again, this is not widespread. This is just for localized areas, South 23rd Street, South Flagler Avenue, some bits of Flagler Avenue and Flagler Beach, Intercoastal Drive and Beverly Beach, places like that. So the impacts are relatively limited, but if you happen to be affected by one of those, tidal flooding situations, it's quite impactful to you. Even though it is very, very localized, it does, it is impacting some people, and some folks are having difficulty getting in and out of their houses during high tide due to these higher tides in the intercoastal waterway. We're going to take a look at tide levels here in just a moment. We also have dangerous surf conditions going on out there as well. And in the tropics, we'll talk more about this in a little bit, but we do have an area that is being watched by the National Hurricane Center, and it is no direct concern for us just as of yet, but we'll be watching that. So let's take a look at where we are at the flooding situation, because I know a lot of people are concerned about that, and let's see if we can get that map to come up here. And yes, we can. So anyhow, so this brings us to looking at flood gauges in Flagler County. So start up here at Bing's Landing, and Bing's Landing right now, we've been right on the bottom edge of moderate flood stage during the high tides. Excuse me, I had to get a drink of water. Fighting a bit of a cold here. So we've been getting up to moderate flood stage with some of the tides here. And that's why Bing's is looking right now. It's stabilized, though. It's not getting any worse, and that's definitely some good news there. Though it is impacting people. Again, South 23rd Street, South Flagler Avenue are seeing the effects of this, because we, at each high tide, we're just getting into that moderate flood stage. Down here at Below Creek, we were also at moderate flood stage, and it looks like we've kind of stabilized there a little bit. Just touching moderate flood stage there. And out at Haw Creek, out here by Daytona North, the Mondex, all that. So we're in a minor flood stage out there. So Russell Landing's probably going to be a little wet. It's probably passable, though, but you're probably going to have some high water there at Russell Landing. Out here at Crescent Lake, we're also looking at higher water, but staying in the minor flood stage. And coming back around the circle here to Palisade Creek, and at Palisade Creek, we are in the minor flood stage as well. But the intercoastals where the problems are, and that's where we've been just getting up to just the bottom end of moderate flood stage with that. So anyhow, taking a look at what else is going on and what's driving it. Again, taking a look, there's that front, there's a weak low pressure system down there. As we get into tomorrow, that front kind of stays, but wobbles a little bit to the north, and then it kind of wobbles back south a little bit. This high pressure off to the north. This next front right here is going to get to us by Thursday and bring us another little local nor'easter when it arrives at the end of the week. So let's go ahead and get into what's to be expected here now. So looking at precipitation amounts, first off, next 24 hours, maybe quarter inch. So nowhere near the amounts they were expecting initially. So next couple days, half inch to an inch. And then as we get towards the next 7 days from now until next Sunday, maybe inch and a half to two, maybe 2 to 3 inches in the southeast part of the county. But again, nothing. If you watched this earlier, there was like 6 to 8 inches expected, and not even close to that anymore. So we're not going to get bombed with rain like they originally thought we were. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes these forecasts change like that. So looking at rain chances, and we're looking at about a 50% chance today. We've already seen that. About a 50% chance tonight. Best chance is closer to the coast. And then about a 70% chance on Monday. Much higher chances on Monday. And then we start to dwindle down to about a 20% chance on Tuesday. And then almost to about a 20% chance on Wednesday. Things dry out a little bit. And then we start going back up a little bit. Now about 30% chance Thursday. That next front gets into picture. Now the coastal showers come back. About a 40% chance of showers. And then staying about 30% chance of showers with that next front coming in towards the end of the week. Now, as I said, that nor'easter, that cold front's going to be coming. So what about temperatures? How's that going to affect us? Today, high temperatures generally in the 80s county-wide. Cooler at the beaches, warmer as you go inland. Very humid out there, lots of tropical moisture. Low temperatures, mid-70s, upper 70s beaches. Tomorrow, back up into the 80s. Pretty much consistent the next several days. When we get to Wednesday, we're still lows in the 70s, highs in the 80s. When we get towards the end of the week, though, we get towards Friday, still looking at lower 80s pretty much across the county. And then we're getting into the lower 70s, maybe mid-70s beaches. And as we go into the upcoming weekend, generally highs in the lower 80s. This is Saturday's high temperatures, lower 80s. And then look at this, down in the 60s for many of us this weekend. Some cooler air in the offing. So it looks like that we are going to see some cooler air coming down the line when we get towards the end of the week. How about winds? Let's talk about that real quick, because there is going to be another nor'easter event that's going to be moving into the area. Get a little bit of a break in the middle of the week, and then we're going to be back at it. So today, gust up to 29 miles an hour, and then those gusts continue overnight. And as we get into Tuesday, now we're winding down a little bit, gusting about 25 miles an hour. That's not that big of a deal, actually. And then even less wind as we get to Wednesday. Thursday, though, those winds start to come back up, and now we're gusting up into the 20s by Thursday and Friday. So a little breezy, so those breezier conditions at the beaches. So taking a look at the tropics, before we get to the tropics, the long-range forecast, we're looking here, temperatures to be averaging above normal when we get from October 10 to October 14th. Precipitation outlook above normal as well, same time frame. As we get further into the future, October 12th to October 18th, looking for temperatures to be generally averaging above normal, and then precipitation maybe just barely above normal. Now talking to the tropics right now, we do have this one system out here. National Hurricane Center gives this a 70% chance of developing. Now keep in mind that this just means that this area can develop anywhere in this shaded area. It's not like a cone of error like we see with a tropical cyclone. So a broad area of low pressure associated with a tropical wave is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms and near Cabo Verde Islands. Environmental conditions appear conducive for additional development of the system. A tropical depression is likely to form this week as the system moves over the central tropical Atlantic. So they're pretty confident that there is going to be something that's going to develop somewhere here. Is it going to affect us? Too early to know. But usually systems that come up this far to the north have a tendency to recurve. But stay tuned, because every system is different. There's no way to know what this one's going to do. And we have a little disturbance out here in the Gulf. That is 0% chance of that getting organized. Further into the future, how the tropics are shaping up for the month of October. Well, October statistically is the third busiest month for hurricane season. And the last few storms that have impacted Flagler County have largely been October storms. Milton was in October. So, though in we had Ian also in October. Then we also had late September, October, and then we had Nicole that was in November. So again, you can get impactful storms all the way um, into the middle part of November. So right now we do have a very low chance of development in this region from October 8th to October 14th. But it looks like that things are going to be heating up in the southern Gulf, Bay of Campeche, Western Caribbean when we get into October, the end of October, into that last week there. And sometimes in October, systems that boil up out of here have a tendency to come north and then go northeast. So this will be an area to watch as we go into the middle part of October. It's just going to spoil any Halloween plans or anything of that nature or any of those type of events. So anyhow, that's going to wrap it up. So I appreciate everyone taking the time in, chime in with this and watch. So again, just a quick review. Breezy, passing showers today. And some of those may produce some lightning. Matter of fact, we can look and see if we're seeing any lightning right now. And I got the lightning sensitivity on. Little bit of lightning here and there, but not much. But anyhow, so quite a bit of lightning out here in the Gulf, but a little bit up here in the Carolinas. But overall, we're not in too bad a shape with the way things are compared to what they were expecting. We were expecting a lot of rain, but we're still going to see these showers and a few thunderstorms to come through, and they could produce some heavy rain in a short span of time. We're not looking at the amounts of rain that we first thought we were going to see. But remaining breezy today. Coastal flood warnings remain in place at least into Tuesday. So if you're dealing with any of the tidal flooding, it's going to be a thing at least into Tuesday. And then we might get to do more of it maybe at the end of the week with the next front cut that comes in. So everybody out there, have a great evening. If you just came in, wish to rewatch this, you can rewatch it from the beginning. And we'll also be posting a YouTube link. Everybody have a great day.